Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, we spend a lot of time on this program talking about Southern Nevada's water. On the program today, Northern Nevada's water with Mark Foree. He's the general manager of the Truckee Meadows Water Authority. For the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Hello, is this D&D Roofing?
Yes, it is. How may I help you?
You did such a great job on my roof. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner.
Oh, can I speak to your supervisor?
Sure.
How may I help you?
I love your work. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner. We're all owners. Well, that's why at D&D we work so hard to keep your home safe and sound.
Oh, no wonder.
D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal. Local, employee-owned, here for you.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're pleased to welcome back to the program Mark Foree. He's general manager of the Truckee Meadows Water Authority. Pleasure to have you back on the program, sir.
Thanks for having me.
So you are the Northern Nevada equivalent of the Southern Nevada Water Authority.
That's correct.
So let me start out with obvious question. Pat Mulroy was recently on the program talking about water issues across the state. Former general manager of Southern Nevada Water Authority. She's now consulting on a whole bunch of projects here in Northern Nevada as well. And she brought up an issue that I have not heard spoken about, period, which is that she feels that potentially we have a crisis on the Truckee River if we have an extended drought because of our population growth. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we have a great water supply with the Truckee River. It's robust and it's reliable, and we have. When you look at our water resources here, the Truckee River is a great supply source. Lake Tahoe and the Truckee River. Then when you add in our groundwater resources that we have throughout the region, and you add in our water bank, that is our underground water storage program, and then you consider our very, very strong upstream drought storage reservoirs in Independence Lake and Donner Lake. And on top of that, you add in TROA, which is a Truckee River Operating Agreement, which allows us to store about 2 to 3 times more water in upstream reservoirs than we ever could before. When you consider all those things with that, all those sources and all those tools, we have a very strong, a very reliable water source here. We're in the process of updating our 20-year water resource plan. And in that, we're looking at all kinds of different scenarios, all kinds of different climate scenarios based on the most recent climate models. And when we model our system and how it works in even extreme drought situations, it comes through very, very well. And so things have changed since TROA. TROA is a an absolute game changer in our region.
And for those that may not realize, this was a project that Senator Harry Reid worked on for literally 30 years to get all the parties to come to the table and finally accomplish that, which just goes to show you how difficult it is to get water agreements passed.
That's correct. and really when our customers, when we're in a severe drought and when our customers still have water to water their landscaping, maybe we've asked them to cut back somewhat, but they still have water to water their landscaping. They can thank Harry Reid for that, because without Harry, TROA would have never happened.
All right, so let's back up a little bit here. In your current 20-year plan, did you envision the 5,000 new homes per year that are coming in, or at least needed, to accommodate the growth, 50,000 over a 10-year period? So an average of 2.5 people per home, that's a considerable amount of water. Was that in any way accounted for? Because who would have seen the Tesla effect?
Yes, we do a population forecast every few years, every 5 years, and we work with the other local agencies in that, and the state demographer as well. And so that's part of our process. We have a 20-year population forecast in our 20-year plan. I believe what we're looking at there is around, in the next 20 years, adding about 100,000 people to our service territory. And so we've looked at that, and in our modeling, we've looked at also more robust population growth. We've looked at, like I said, like very extreme drought situations, worse than we've ever had before. I think Pat Mulroy is right in that we will have a worse drought on the Truckee than we've ever seen before. When that happens is the big question. But I will tell you that when it happens, we'll be ready for it. We can weather through it with all these tools and all these resources that I've talked about.
All right, so her, I guess, main point was that we need additional storage, in her opinion, we need additional storage on the Truckee River. I talked to Washoe County Commissioner Marcia Burke-Bigler, and she agreed with Ms. Mulroy that storage is something that's needed. I asked her for locations. She talked about potentially places in the North Valleys. Are you looking or discussing, even privately, at looking at more water storage for Northern Nevada? Because it seems to me we're not at the beginning, but we're very early stages of a 20 to 30 year growth spurt in Northern Nevada because of the business that's going on here. And with everything that's happening in California in terms of taxes, business environment, and all these other things, we're just going to see more and more businesses coming over here. Is the water storage, a very relevant thing in terms of long-term drought?
Well, it would be wonderful to have another Stampede Reservoir up in the mountains
Which
here.
is a huge reservoir.
It's about 225,000 acre feet. Permitting anything in California as far as a reservoir site, it would be very difficult. It would take a long time. You could probably
impossible.
Probably impossible. And also, all the good reservoir sites have already been taken. So it's that's an issue as well. But what TROA does, and there's a lot of, it's complicated and there's a lot of intricacies in TROA, but TROA is the next best thing, because in periods of dry weather and extreme droughts, we can not only can we store water in those upstream reservoirs, and we can do that every year, every winter. Even in the worst winter we've had in 2015, we were able to store about 11,000 acre feet in upstream reservoirs there, in addition to our Donner and Independence Lake. And so what TROA does in dry periods is we can not only store water there, but we can carry over what we didn't use from year to year. And when you model that, for instance, we've looked at taking the 8-year drought that we've had that is the worst on record, that occurred from 87 to 94, and we've put another one back to back on that, and we've modeled that. We are able to accrue storage in the upstream reservoirs. We actually grow the storage during a large portion of that time frame. And we get through that very well. So TROA is definitely the next best thing than having another reservoir up there. And it will really allow us to weather a very extreme drought.
All right, so, and again, this is Pat Mulroy's opinion. It's not Tumwa's stated opinion, but when she talks about a crisis, if we don't get additional storage, do you agree with her assessment?
No, and for the reasons that I just told you.
So she's wrong?
Well, there are a lot. I have great respect for Pat. Pat, when Pat speaks, I listen and I learn something every time. And she's a great water manager, one of the best we've had in this time.
Literally in the world.
Yes, and so I have great respect for her. But with TROA, there are a lot of intricacies, like I talked to you about, and even before we started modeling this, like I'm talking about, I wasn't even aware of how strong TROA was until we started modeling these extreme drought scenarios. And we have a third-party modeler that uses the same water model that the Bureau of Reclamation uses. And it's got all the things in it. It's got temperature, it's got evaporation, it's got water demands. And when these things are modeled and these extreme droughts are modeled, we come through well. There will be periods of time when we ask the customers to cut back on their outside watering. But as far as curtailing outside watering, I'll tell you that a drought will not cause that.
All right, so let me just, and I'll finish on this topic here. If I were to say to you, looking out, because you guys, like other great agencies, look out 25, 30 years. So at this point, you're looking at the next 30 years and saying, we don't anticipate building major water storage in northern Nevada for the Truckee River. Is that correct?
Well, let me say that we are always looking for new water resources and sources of water. What we try to do is focus on things that you don't need to build. There are water rights out there. So
importation?
No, where there are water rights out there still in the Truckee system in this region that could be utilized.
So agricultural?
Coming from primarily from still agricultural uses. So we look for resources like that don't require you to build a big reservoir, but still have a yield that could be important in the future. So we're continually looking at those things. I wouldn't say that we're actively focused on a reservoir site at this time, but we update this plan every few years, but it's formally updated every 5 years. And as things change, we can always add that to our mix to, if that's what we feel is necessary.
Commissioner Burke-Bigler talked about the North Valleys. Is that, in your opinion, a realistic place to site a reservoir if one was needed?
What I've heard discussed there is a reservoir that would where treated wastewater would be pumped up to, and I think there are sites up there that would be could be suitable for that.
Any idea of the capacity?
I don't know exactly.
All right, let's take a break and we'll come back and we have lots of other things to talk about.
Okay.
Mark Foree is here. He's the general manager of the Truckee Meadows Water Authority, and we'll be right back.
Tamarack Junction is South Reno's hotspot with over 450 of the latest slots and video games. Sully Sports Bar, the Dining Car Restaurant, William Hill Sportsbook, and the Tamarack Steakhouse and Lounge. We're just north of the Summit Mall in South Virginia. Yeah.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Robnett, owner of Home Energy Experts. Has this ever happened to you?
Honey, did you remember to turn down the thermostat?
Forgetting to set the temperature? Not fun. We can help. Our new smart thermostat keeps the temperature set for your comfort all by itself.
I'm feeling hot now.
To increase your comfort, go to homeenergyexperts.com for details. That's homeenergyexperts.com.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
The Tamarack Junction Steakhouse is known for signature steaks, handcrafted cocktails, and world-class wines. Join us Thursdays and Friday nights from 4:30 to 6:30 in the Steakhouse Lounge for live music, gourmet plates, and well-priced wines, just north of the Summit Mall on South Virginia.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Mark Foree. He's the general manager of the Truckee Meadows Water Authority, sewage treatment plant. Will the pipeline that's going to move the gray water from the sewer plant up to the Tahoe Industrial Center, how long will it put off the need to expand the sewage treatment plant?
So we don't at TUMWA, we don't deal with treating, collecting or treating wastewater or distributing reclaimed water. We do work with all the other agencies. We work with Reno, Sparks, and Washoe County, and we have a group that works specifically on reclaim issues. And we are, what TUMWA is a part of there in that project is that we are managing the return flow requirements, the water resources, because whenever you take water out of the river that would otherwise be going to a downstream user, you have to replace that water with other water. So we are, our job there is to manage the return flow requirements. So what happens is the Tri-Center is putting in certain Truckee River rights for that. The state of Nevada is putting up some water rights for that. And then TUMWA will fill in what's remaining with our resources that we have available. So that's our involvement in that. It is good for Reno Sparks and their wastewater operation because, as you said, it will put off the need for them to upgrade their plant to be able to continue to meet their discharge requirements. I'm not exactly sure how long that is. I think it probably could be 10 to 15 years that it could put off, but I don't know that. You would have to talk to those folks that operate that plant.
When you look at other areas of the country and the world, and I look at places like Israel, and I know that the Israelis have been sending people to Nevada for decades now to help us with saving water, and you look at the efforts down in southern Nevada at saving water, it seems like we have a long ways to go in terms of catching up. Is that something that TUMWA is interested in pursuing? Would you like to see people taking out grass in backyards and putting in a more natural landscape to save water without there being a drought? Because with the growth that we have, there's going to be more and more pressure on the water we have available to provide for that growth. Is there thoughts of putting together a fund to purchase lawns? Yeah.
Good question. We've kind of talked with our board about that a couple of times, and really, there's quite a few differences between what we have up here and what they have in southern Nevada. In southern Nevada, when they pay for removal of turf down there, that capacity is basically resold, right, to new development. In our system, that doesn't happen. Any water that's conserved in our system just goes into the system overall. So we don't have that situation where we would have a funding source to pay for that. Not only that, but we don't feel that there's really a need for that up here. for the reasons that I talked about earlier.
Okay, all right, so forgive me, but I'm going to ask this. Do downstream users feel the same way? I mean, would the tribe like to see more water going into Pyramid Lake? Would Fernley and Fallon like to see more water from the Truckee being diverted towards them if there was excess capacity? We're about to see potentially a huge boom in the Fernley area and Fallon with industrial parks.
Right. So when you can, I want to get back to the Truckee River.
Sure, of course.
And how much Tumwa takes out of the river net. In a normal year, we use 3% of the flow in the river. In a drought year, that can go up to about 9%. So, so there are a lot of other users on the river. We're one of the smaller users. But it's always good to have, to have efficiency improvements in any operation. We're certainly not against people taking out their lawns and putting in zero escape. That's, but that we feel is the customer's choice, and that's great if they want to do that. But like I said, there are different things about that topic, Northern Nevada versus Southern Nevada, and for the reasons I talked about before with our resiliency in our drought management, the fact that we only take 3% of the water out of the river, we haven't moved toward anything like a turf replacement program.
Okay, so who are the biggest users then on the river? If Tumwa is only 3% in a normal year?
The Truckee-Carson Irrigation District, those are the Fallon and Fernley area farmers. They, depending on what kind of water year it is, they can take a very large percentage of water out of the river.
And are their canals lined these days? Or are we still?
Portions of their canal is lined. I don't think a lot of it is lined.
So we're still losing about 50% of the water then going through there?
I think there are some losses there. I'm not very familiar with their system really in terms of how much is lined and so on, but certainly that helps. I mean, any improvement to irrigation, or moving from flood irrigation to drip irrigation, those kind of things would help too. But
and I have to say personally, and I've been aware of flood irrigation on the Humboldt especially, that in a desert that seems to me to be insane, but that's just my opinion and I'm not asking for yours. Right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We just got another minute or so and we'll be right back.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. Come visit Design Outdoor's store and backyard to see our wide selection of fire pits, barbecues, and pizza ovens, natural stone water features and fountains, and frost-proof pottery. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
Can't do it. Stupid, like my mom.
We can't do anything at Mommy's because you won't pay child support.
Dad said you cheated, and he's not even sure he's my dad.
Mommy said you left both of us, so she isn't gonna let me see you. I look just like my father.
I'm divorce attorney Marilyn York, and I may represent men, but hate has no gender, only casualties. Please, stop sacrificing your children in your war against your ex.
Hi, I'm Dave Newman. Remember me? I used to be the house detective, and now I'm a realtor full-time at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates. A lot of people ask me, how's the market? You know what? It's fantastic. If you're even kicking around the idea of buying or selling, give me a call. Let's talk about it. Call me at RE/MAX Realty Affiliates and just ask for the guy who used to be the house detective, Dave Newman.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Mark Foree. He's the general manager of the Truckee Meadows Water Authority. Does the authority still ask developers to bring 1.5 water rights for every water right they need for their developments?
So in the Truckee Meadows, where if development is in the Truckee Meadows where it returns water through the wastewater plant to the river, they only need 11%. If you're outside of that, for instance, South Truckee Meadows, which the wastewater goes to the county plant down there, and it does not return to the river, then you need the extra half of an acre-foot per acre of demand. And the same would go, same holds true for the North Valleys, because they have their own wastewater plants up there that don't return flow to the Truckee River.
Do you see, and we only have about 40 seconds here, are you seeing a massive change in the attitude of the State Department of Natural Resources and Conservation towards water?
I think it's too early to tell, really. I think they have new leadership down there.
Is your radar up?
Yes, I would say yes. I think every water user in the state, is interested.
All right, and that's where we have to leave it. Please come back again soon. Appreciate you being here, man.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be right back. A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
St. Ives Florist, for every holiday and every special occasion. For romance. Custom home design. We have the largest selection of fresh flowers in northern Nevada. And we also offer a large selection of unique gift items. Come see me, Lorianne, at St. Ives Florist, 700 South Wells Avenue, or call me at 333-9190.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
You can now watch Nevada Newsmakers on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search for Nevada Newsmakers and become a subscriber. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Thanks for watching and listening.